Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver
Hey guys,
now.
Bix Weir, roadtowoo.com. Been away for a while at the WooWoo conference up in Ottawa. Amazing time. Hanging out with people like Penny Kelly is just mind-blowing. Want to thank Jean-Claude. Great time. Amazing speakers, information. I hung out with Ginny and Lisa and Andy Shackman. The old gang and the new gang, bunch of new people who are getting into not only spirituality, but the concept that spirituality, woo-woo, and finance can all come together and converge into one beautiful little way forward. And I think that's where we're all headed. So, yeah, I think you can get, I'm going to talk to Jean-Claude and see if we can get, I think we can get the whole conference. I think it was $150 or something. Maybe we have a discount code. I'll check that out. Make sure you're a private road member at Road to Ruta. I will be reposting the discussion I gave on gold in the Grand Canyon and what it means for our future, how shocking it will be to practically every single human on the planet, especially gold bugs versus silver bugs. There's at least 10 times more gold than they tell you, and the ramifications of that in the gold-silver ratio will be shocking to 99% of humanity. Let's say 99.999% of humanity. There's very few people who fully understand the relationship between gold and silver historically, monetarily, and what the bankers and the elite have done to destroy the concept of silver as money, as silver as a store of value, as silver as something that is massively more important than gold and less available. Both on the fact that there's less silver available for industry and the bigger fact that, I mean, a handful of people know there are billions and billions of ounces of gold that they don't tell you about. And this will come out. This will all come out as the old system fails, and we are in that moment in time. We are in the window. We will see the stoppage of all markets. And Elon Musk is helping with that. I've been saying for a very long time that there is no limit on the amount of unbacked fiat currency that the U.S. was making. There is no limit and was no limit. It was a con. It was a faith and confidence confidence. They don't call it confidence for nothing. So anyway, yeah, I'll get back to go to roadtoroad.com, sign up for the private road, or sign up for the public emails, and you'll get a whole lot of stuff there. Just put your name and email address on the left side. You get free updates almost daily about this change we're going through. It's an amazing change. You should have all your physical silver in your own possession by now. There's no time to waste. If you don't, contact Andy Scheckman at Miles Franklin. Send him an email, info at milesfranklin.com, or you can call him 952-929-7066. That's 952-929-7066 and get your physical silver. You have to have as much as possible by now. There will be no limit to how high silver can go. I've written articles on $100,000 silver and showed you how that would, when the exposure of what's really gone on over the last 170 years is fully understood, that the price of silver has been massively suppressed. It still is massively suppressed. And the world is taking physical. The real smart money is taking physical out of the COMEX, out of the LBMA, into India, into China. Any manufacturing company that uses silver, Elon Musk included, should know that the amount of silver you're going to have in the future will be extremely limited, as in none, unobtainium, at any price until we do have a free market trading of silver. We don't have a free market trading of silver right now, even though it's at $34, according to the powers that be, which is still 25% less than its all-time high in 1980. Now, how much money has the U.S. government printed? Not even the U.S. government. Silver is a global a global store of value, a global real money, a global industrial component that is, it absolutely, every solar panel has to have massive amounts of silver. Massive. Every electric car has to have massive amounts of silver, or it's not going to work the same. And the manufacturers know this, and the smart ones are loading up, and not only loading up, they're taking delivery. Let's take a look at delivery right now. This is the largest delivery month in the history of the COMEX. It will be, by the time this month is over, it will be the largest delivery month in the history of the COMEX. I think that the last largest was 80. We're going to hit, and I wrote it down, somewhere between 85 and 90 million. My guess is 87.5 million, right between the two. Why do I say this? Bix, why do you say this? Well, first of all, they've already delivered 72 million right here. 14,420 contracts. Who is the big player? We know them by name. JP Morgan Chase and the customers of JP Morgan Chase. HSBC, Bank of America, Citibank. Who's been delivering? JP Morgan right here. JP Morgan had to go into their own stash for about 30 million ounces. Of the 72, JP Morgan plus JP Morgan customers, that's over 50% of all the silver that's been delivered been through JP Morgan and JP Morgan customers. You all should know how evil JP Morgan and JP Morgan customers are. That's the main reason they aren't releasing the Epstein files too, by the way. If you go to Wall Street on Parade, they did a great analysis a few months back of just how many senior management was involved in the Epstein insanity, and board members, and who they're partners with. This is the largest bank in the world. This is the largest derivative bank in the world. Talk about an easy way to destroy the old system, but it'll take everything with it. And we'll blame the right people, the JP Morgans of the world, the BIS, the IMF, the World Bank, the U.S. Treasury. Although there are good people with it, the U.S. Fed. There are good people that will get us back on track. They've been planning this for over 100 years. This is part of my talk at the WooWoo conference. This is not a surprise to the powers that be in the United States, especially those who understand just how much gold we really have. Is gold in Fort Knox? Is there gold in Fort Knox? It does not matter. It's such a tiny amount of gold compared to what we have. In the Grand Canyon, in the banks of the Colorado River, and the secret military base in the Grand Canyon. We did a remote viewing on it. Massive, like warehouse full of gold. Massive amounts of gold. If you have gold, swap it for silver. If you have gold and love gold, swap it for silver. Right now it's like 90 to 1. It's crazy. You won't get full 90. You might probably get 80. It's still the no-brainer of a lifetime. I'm not saying it won't go to 120 to 1. This is a derivative market. They can put the price of silver at minus $40 if they want, but they can't make physical silver out of thin air yet. Although Penny Kelly was talking about how we're going to be making things from energy. Penny is brilliant. I love Penny. Anyway, so yes, where are we right now? We're in a very painful delivery session for the riggers. The number one rigger, JP Morgan. The number two rigger, HSBC. HSBC is ponied up almost 16 million ounces of that. Just a handful of banks, by the way. 4 to 8 banks own the entire short position. And this is on the COMEX, futures and options. But they have a delivery mechanism. I think that delivery mechanism will be failing by the next delivery month. They could meet this one. Although, we've only got 12 days, probably 2 weeks of delivery days left, and they still have, you can see it right here, almost 2,000, which is 10 million ounces that still haven't been delivered. So somebody's paying interest. If they have the metal, they're paying storage fees every day they don't give it up. The reality is they don't have it. They either have to bring it in or buy someone who has COMEX inventory, physical, and then give it to whoever they owe on the long side. It's an amazing time. And you notice that we're seeing deliveries are greater than the change in open interest by about 100 contracts, which is what? Or let's see. Yeah, this is a little over 100 contracts. And if you do the math, let's do this math. So this is for Monday. What happened Monday? There was 289 deliveries minus the change in open interest, 165 equals, so 124 of those contracts were brand new contracts brought in, bought that day, and said, I want delivery, probably 3 days ago. And you times that by 5,000, and that gives you 620,000 ounces. People just walking in and buying half a million ounces of silver. It's, I mean, wouldn't you do that if you had the money? Of course you would. This is crazy. That's why we're going to hit, even though these numbers say we're going to hit about 82 million, if all those get delivered, more are being asked for than have open interest right now. So that's where I get to 85 to 90 million probably by the end of the month. And then we have a non-delivery month, which is also big. I mean, right now the non-delivery month is at 11 million. April's at 11 million ounces of silver right here for a non-delivery month. That's a really big non-delivery month. But look at this. You wait till the May, which is the next delivery month, and we're right now at 127,000 contracts. Let's use our handy dandy calculator. That's 635 million ounces that are currently open in the May contract. Now, yes, they get whittled down, as Jeffrey Christian will tell you. Well, they just roll them over. Jeffrey Christian is the biggest mouthpiece of the deep state cabal, gold and silver riggers there has ever been. That's his bread and butter. The only people that pay for his service are the bullion banks who are the criminals playing this game. And they pay him to mislead the public. Same with the Silver Institute. They are paid to mislead the public. Silver Institute they should be in jail. It's only like 2 guys there. I've talked to him, and it's like, oh my God, this is so ridiculous. Embarrassing, as a matter of fact. And criminal. But hey, it's not like we have an SEC, right? Or a CFTC that gives a shit about the people or the law or anything. They're on the side of the bankers. Make no doubt about it. They go from the CFTC right to Goldman Sachs, right to the Dtcc. That happens a lot because that's where they're supposed to be keeping track of all this stuff. That's the biggest problem that nobody talks about. And I've done many exposés on the Dtcc. Who is the Dtcc? They're supposed to settle every one of these trades that happens on the stock market, the bond market. Your house, your mortgage is held at the Dtcc under the name Seed and Company. Oh, that's a street name. What the fuck is a street name? It's not a street name. It is owned. It is legally owned by a single entity. They did a study back in the 70s. Who was it? And they said it was a person. Either the Queen of England. They didn't really say who it was. A Rothschilds or a Rockefeller. I don't know. But when you get to that level of fraud and that level of, it's like the Great Taking. If you guys have studied that. If you haven't, you should. You should read the book. Talks about the Dtcc and how they stole ownership of everything, all assets on the planet, practically. They don't own the physical silver in your own possession. They don't own the cryptos in your own possession. They don't own the gold in your possession. They own the gold in the ETFs and the SLV and GLD and all the mining shares. They own it. Who is they? Nobody knows. The Dtcc, and they have lost track of what the hell they're doing. So they can't settle these trades. Trades are not being settled, especially in the U.S. treasuries and U.S. dollar. Infinity money is being printed right now, and Elon is finding that out. And what I said at the conference is, what happens? What happens if you have infinity money? Where do people run to? They'll run out of the banks, obviously. Get your money out of the banks. I've been screaming this for so long. Money out of the banks, physical assets in your own possession. Can an electronic asset be a physical asset? Absolutely. Just print it out on a piece of paper. That's physical for you. If your mind can't concept digital scarcity and the ability to create assets that can't be replicated, the double spin problem that Satoshi figured out. He called it Bitcoin at the time. Did he invent Bitcoin? There are many inventors of Bitcoin. going back to John Kemeny, the guy who invented basic computing, the first shareable computer programming language is BASIC. And then the next guy was Alan Greenspan, the computer programmer from the 1960s and 70s, who created the electronic financial system. It wasn't just him, but it was a few people like him. He blamed himself for Y2K because he only put 2 digits instead of 4. And then he created all the rigging programs to rig every single market that's traded on futures and options, which is every market now. And that's how they control the price of everything with the click of a mouse. And then it got to Steve Jobs, who invented the computer in your hand with the first iPhone. We could not have cryptocurrencies be useful unless we have some way to walk around with them. That was Steve Jobs. And the fourth guy was Satoshi Nakamoto. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? If you guys want to really know, it could be this guy. There. Kazuki Okamoto. I think it's him. But does it matter? I don't think he has the Bitcoin anymore because I've read his papers before and then after the invention and release of the Bitcoin white paper. This is him. This is the guy. And the remote viewer guys said his name was an anagram. Obviously, Satoshi Nakamoto, Tatsuki Okamoto. Almost identical. You could probably take all the letters and rearrange them and come really close. Yes, he was working on this for decades. And many people have been working on electronic money for decades. Decades. Anyway, so where are we? I think we're at the very brink of them shutting down the COMEX. Will we see silver at $600 while the COMEX is open? I don't think so. It would mean JP Morgan was gone. You know, like Cliff said, $600 silver will happen, but you probably won't like the world that you're living in when it does happen. It means the banks have gone away, everything got destroyed, and we have to rebuild the system somehow from the beginning. Will they go to Reggie Middleton for his IP on peer-to-peer transactions using Veritasium? I hope so. Obviously, I've been a big supporter of that. I think Reggie got chewed up by the machine, the elite white financial assholes who control our world, and he got chewed up and spit out unfairly, shockingly unfairly. And I hear crypto people denigrating Reggie. I'm like, who are you people who can't understand what Reggie had invented and only can have these blinders on to only, I got XRP and Reggie's an asshole because he has a patent on XRP. He's not an asshole because he has a patent on XRP. The real assholes at XRP are the promoters. If you ask me, you're promoting a way for banks to rejigger their new system so that they can still control you with the new SWIFT system, they're calling it. It's such bullshit. It's crazy bullshit, in my opinion. But they hate Reggie because Reggie has absolutely the patent on what XRP does, and he filed it before XRP was around, and it got awarded 7 patents. There you have it. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about a little bit more about who else was short silver and who's delivering. A little bit at Wells Fargo, but they got in their house account. They don't do much. Wells Fargo doesn't do much. HSBC is always on the delivery side, and this is big. This is almost 16 million ounces that HSBC customer. It's probably BlackRock, and BlackRock, when it says HSBC customer, it's probably BlackRock. They're one of the big players. Same with JP Morgan customers, probably BlackRock. BlackRock is very evil, and they control a lot of things behind the scenes. A guy named Evie Hambro runs that, their precious metals trading division. They're a huge player, but they don't put their name out there in the metal space. Other than, I think they own the ETFs, which is crazy. And they have JP Morgan manager. Why would you have the biggest rigger of silver as the custodian of the ETF, unless you're full of shit and you're a fraud and a cheat and a liar. There you have it. Who else had that pony up? Macquarie took, that's about 7 million ounces. Now, you'll hear these names, and Macquarie is usually on the taking side. It's actually a real brokerage house type of thing, and this is for their house account. Maybe they're delivering it somewhere else. Maybe they're buying it for one of their customers. BMO Capital came out with a massive taking of physical. Interesting. I think they're Canadian. I believe it's a house account, almost 15 million. Do they have a deal with HSBC? Maybe. Who knows? A lot of behind the scenes dealing of, hey, you do this and I'll do this. All right. You take this big hit on silver, let's say a $50 million hit on silver, but we'll give it to you back in the gold markets. If you go up to gold, we'll move the price of gold here so that you break even or you make a little money for doing this. That's what goes on. It's collusion. It's illegal. That's what Trump, his attack on JP Morgan, that's where they fell short. They had him busted for RICO charges, conspiring with other dealers, other brokers, and other big banks. They had him for conspiracy. And then they dropped it because they want the system to go on. My only bitch about Trump is he's allowing the manipulation of markets to continue. And we cannot be free individuals. We will never be free if we don't have free markets. And that's just the way it is. So we are not free right now. Even if Trump did everything he was going to do, but continued to rig the markets, we would not be free people. We have to have free markets. It's the only road to freedom. And here you can see this is just the other day, 340 million or 324 contracts were delivered. This is way deep in the delivery month. All this should have been done at the beginning. You look at who's taking it. Wells Fargo house account. These are the banker house accounts saying, oh shit, I need this for next month or whatever it is. A lot of that crap goes on. And this is why I think there's going to be more than just the 82 million that is shown to be delivered. Is we're having, look at these deliveries every day. This is the day by day. And as you can see in the beginning is when you want to deliver the most. Because if you have the physical metal and you're short, legitimately, you'd rather give them the metal before you have to pay the next day of storage fees. And that just makes sense. But they're not. There's still about 10 million ounces left to be delivered. So, and you're seeing that increase. Look at the increases in here. It was petering off, and all of a sudden, 286, 183, and now 298 contracts, 324 contracts. That's why I think we're going to probably get around 87 million, could even get up to 90 million ounces. Any way you slice it's going to be the biggest delivery month ever on the COMEX. And that's good. That's good. This is metal that's disappearing from the hands of the criminal cabal. All right, so this is what I talked about. I mean, I've been talking about the fact that we've been lied to about the amount of gold we have. We've been lied to in the very beginning when they found massive amounts of gold, billions and billions and billions of ounces in the Grand Canyon in the early 1900s, and even more after they opened all the caves that they found. That's why you can't go in the Grand Canyon, and 95% of the caves in the Grand Canyon have not been explored. Bullshit. The military's in there. The Marines actually have a base within the Grand Canyon. And I know a guy who's been there. Anyway, he didn't see any gold, but he did see a bunch of, quote, Egyptian artifacts being moved out of there. But the reality is there's so much more gold. And what would have happened in 1900 when we went on the gold standard, the official gold standard in America happened in the 1900s after silver was demonetized. The crime of 1873, when they made it so that you cannot, they gave up free coinage for silver and not gold. So all the miners couldn't sell they had to sell through the bankers. And that's a lot of what happens these days. If you want to buy a stock, where do you go? Through the bank. You got to go through the bankers. Everything had to be gone through the bankers, and that's how they demonetized silver. It was still trading in coin form, but you couldn't take your silver to the mint anymore. They call it the crime of 1873. And then 1872, or I think it was 3. Yeah. Well, anyway, the reality is they officially put us on a gold standard in 1900. Then they found massive amounts of gold. And it's like, oh, holy shit. What happens if you have a set amount of currency that people believe in, the faith and confidence, and all of a sudden you're adding 100 times more of that currency? It is chaos. And that's what I talked about in my discussion. But now move that forward to today. Listen to what Elon Musk is talking about.
So I call it magic money computer, any computer which can just make money out of thin air. Best magic money.
So how does that work?
It just issues payments.
And you said there's something like 11 of these computers at Treasury that are sending out trillions in payments?
They're mostly at Treasury. Some are, but there's some at HHS, there's one or two at State, there's some at DOD. I think we found now 14 magic money computers.
14, okay.
They just send money out of nothing.
Who's been saying that for a very long time? Oh, I've been saying that. The debt doesn't mean anything. That's what that's what they feed the masses. There's nothing to stop the United States from printing $2 quadrillion behind the scenes and not telling anybody. It is all part of the road to Ruta theory. It's what Ruta wrote in the sand in the 1981 comic book. On the road to the golden age. That's what she wrote in the sand. Print money to infinity. Soak up all the benefits. Build your roads, your houses, your bridges. But when people find out, it's over. Poof, gone. That's where we are. Cliff has talked about this quite a bit. Here's what he has to say. So how will we calculate the value of Bitcoin, gold, and silver if it turns out that there are 1,000 more trillions of dollars than the criminals at the Fed and the Treasury admit to creating? If Bitcoin is now $80,000 plus dollars, does it go to millions? Gold 3,000 plus will go 1,000 times higher. Same with silver, 3,000 plus, 1,000 times higher. Gold and silver are going to be 1-to-1 at least. Probably, if the true expanse of the amount of gold we have is revealed, it will go probably 1 to 10 or 1 to 100. 1 ounce of silver worth 100 ounces of gold. I'm not saying gold's not valuable. It will be valuable. I'm saying silver is massively undervalued because of the rigging, because of the control for the last 170 years. That does not end quietly. That it does not end at 50-to-1 ratio or 35-to-1 or even 20-to-1 or 10-to-1 or the 7-to-1 ratio that's coming out of the ground at. We are in a deficit of silver. Every ounce that comes out of the ground now goes into industrial, and they need even more out of the ETFs and out of all the people's warehouses. It will go to a minimum. I think a minimum of 1-to-1 gold-silver ratio. That will be freely traded silver, because everybody and their mother are going to want it. Because they're going to understand just how much gold there is. It's not 200,000, 20 tons like the Gold Council will tell you. It's more like probably 2 million tons is my guess, which is 10 times more. And the U.S. dollars, there's 100 to 1,000 times more U.S. dollars than they've told you. Can you rejigger that system without destroying it? You cannot. You cannot fix the system, Mr. Trump, if that's what you're trying to do. The only way to move forward is to destroy the whole system, the entire system, and you can do that by letting the derivative, 3 quadrillion derivative bubble pop. Boom. We have chaos, we have destruction, but we have a way forward after that. The best thing for 99% of the population and governments and cities and states, the best thing that can happen is that. The destruction, because all the debt is gone. You will have no more debt. You'll have no assets in the system. Now, I think the United States has a way to allocate assets to its people. It was in the Road to Ruta comic books. I've talked about this since 2007. There will be a reallocation of the new money. Will it contain gold? Will it contain silver? Absolutely. Will it contain cryptos? I don't know. Could. It could. I think the USA has the million Satoshi Bitcoin, which would be a nice thing to have if you're going to allocate it to your population. What will other countries do? I don't know, but I think a lot of them know what's going to happen, so they're preparing. some visibly, like El Salvador, some not so visibly, like England is going to. Why do you think they require all this gold and silver to be stored in England? They don't have that much in the ground of gold and silver. They do have control of the global banking system. Kind of. So yeah, the SLV and GLD, all those warehouses in London or in that area, that's for their people when the shit falls apart. People won't be trading with each other anymore. We're at a very, very strange time. But it's been prophesized by the Road to Ruta comics. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to roadtoruta.com. I brought forward what is the Road to Ruta theory. Watch those 2 videos. It explains what I found, what it meant, and you'll watch the progression of the Road to Ruta theory, which is that there are good guys behind the scenes working to take out the cabal, the deep state, the pedophiles, and all of it to return us to our Constitution. We have constitutional money of gold and silver. What they will be valued at will be very interesting because we have a lot of gold. Everywhere from the Grand Canyon to Chocolate Mountain. Yamashita's gold. Asia has at least 300,000 tons of gold from Yamashita's gold. Or they had at least. All that gold is kind of, it went into the deep state and kind of gone away. If you haven't read that book, Peggy and Sterling Seagrave's book, they give you so much backup. It's irrefutable. You cannot say that didn't happen, that it was a fake story. Like the GATA people kept saying, Bix, you don't know what you're talking about. That's fake. That's bullshit. There's not 300,000 tons of gold or more. I'm like, look at the evidence. They have Supreme Court documents. They had every kind of evidence you ever needed is there, but nobody believes it because they don't want to believe it. You don't want to believe that there's 10 times as much gold as you've been banking on. And mind you, remember who holds the gold. It's the bankers that hold the gold. Governments hold the gold. Of course, they want the price of gold to keep going up. That's why gold is trading at 400% of its 1980 all-time high, with 375% of its all-time high. That's why silver is trading at 75% of its all-time high. Because the bankers are the criminals and they don't own it. Had they, in 1900, had they said, my God, we found billions and billions of ounces of gold in the Grand Canyon and there's only 160 million ounces in circulation, what would happen? This is what I talked about a little bit in a discussion at the WooWoo conference. What would happen? We were on a gold standard. Anybody who had gold would be instantly trying to swap it for silver because we were on a silver standard not just 20 years before that. And who had all the silver? The people had the silver. The banks didn't have the silver. They had some, but the people have the silver. What is it today? The people have the silver. The banks have been naked shorting the silver. You have silver. You, I'm talking to you. You have silver. It might be in the form of your cell phone. There's 1/100th of an ounce of silver in your cell phone. Your electric car, your internal combustion car has over an ounce of silver in every car made now. Because the backup camera needs silver. All the electronic components need silver. Your electric windows need silver. Everything electronic needs a little tiny bit of silver. Can you melt it down? Will you melt down your solar panels that you just put on your roof? Probably not. You probably wouldn't at, $50 silver or $100 silver. Would you do it at $500,000 silver? Yeah, you would. Everything is relative. But you don't have to do that. You can contact Andy Shackman at Miles Franklin and say, hey, Andy, give me what you got in inventory. Don't wait. Say, hey, what's the best deal in inventory? Say, Bix said, ask for the best deal you got in inventory. I like pre-65 coinage for various reasons. I think silver, that's the form of silver that will be money in the United States. Again. And the other silver will be used for industry. And by definition, that silver money has to be more valuable than the industrial silver. So, and they can do that by scarcity. The U.S. Mint can scan every coin out there, put it on a blockchain, so we know exactly how much silver coinage we have. Because it's important for anything to hold value. Like silver U.S. coinage, we right now, theoretically, we know how many have been made. That's been kept track of very, very well. And we can do that in the future. And the future technology can scan the coin, the crystalline structure of that coin, and then record it on the U.S. dollar blockchain, whatever you want to call it. The U.S. dollar is actually defined as, 371 grains of silver, 371 and a quarter or something like that. That's if we go back to money and we don't rely on people like Trump or Janet Yellen or Jerome Powell to tell us what money is. If we decide, we go back to the Constitution. It doesn't even matter what they say. We go back to the Constitution. And I think we are going back to the Constitution. There has to be tweaks. Yes, certain things need to be changed. But we the people are going to decide that, not these people who control our lives now. Not Janet Yellen, not Jerome Powell, not even Trump. It's going to be we the people. There's going to be a lot of people in prison, especially politicians. Dick Allgeier, seeing them puking when they come out of Congress, they can start puking. When Trump and Elon get done with them, we're going to find out that they printed trillions of dollars and gave it to themselves. And there's a lot of politicians who did it. Think the Biden family. Think the Obama family. Yes, sorry, Democrats who love Obama. Obama's husband's a man, Mike Obama. Why do I believe that? Because I don't want to say what I've seen with my own eyes. All you got to do is look at who his best friend was. Anyway, I don't want to go down that path. Because there's still a lot of censorship on YouTube, unfortunately. I think that'll change, like with Twitter, that'll change because the people who control YouTube, Google, senior management will be removed and replaced just like they did at Twitter. So I'm trying to hang on to my YouTube channel. I might have to put this one on the private road, but we'll see. We'll see after I post it and see if I get any dings on it. And you want more information, go to roadtoroota.com and join the private road. Hit subscribe today. It's $2.99 for a year. And we give all our subscribers a paper wallet loaded with 5 Theta, 50 T-Fuel, and 500 T-Drop mailed to your front door. I know a lot of people don't know about cryptos, can't deal with cryptos, are afraid of cryptos. You're going to have to learn them, but this is a great way to get some and not really... You don't need to know. If you get that little slip of paper and you put it in your vault with your silver, you're good. You're golden. And if you do want cryptos, go to roadtoroota.com, click on affiliates, and we do have an affiliate that will help you, walk you through a broker. It's a broker. Their fees are pretty good. But it's just like a stock exchange. You got brokers. Caleb and Brown is the one we recommend, and there's the affiliate link to get the white glove service. So go to roadtoroota.com, affiliates, go down to Caleb and Brown and click on that. And they have a great online trading thing now. It's a great service. They've come a long way, and we do support them. So that's what I got for you. This is Bix Weir. roadtoroota.com. I'm back in action. Lots to talk about as silver runs and runs and runs, and it won't stop this time at $50. And then all chaos breaks out. It might all happen at the same time. But ultimately, on the road to Ruta theory and everything I've analyzed, it is silver that ultimately destroys the banking cabal. And with a 350 million ounce short position that they cannot close, the top too big to fail banks will be destroyed. JP Morgan number 1, HSBC number 2. Take those two down and everything goes. So hang on tight. It's Bix Weir. I'll talk to you.